Now this is what longevity in bodybuilding looks like.
You guys are just glowing. Your skin is glowing.
Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here, and today I would like to continue with this two-part series of interviews with Ed Abrook, a bodybuilder from the Silver Era that met and trained with Reg Park, who I introduced in my previous video and is a shining example of what longevity in bodybuilding looks like. At the time of this interview, Ed was 90 years old, but again, I wish to highlight how Ed was a true example of longevity in the sport of bodybuilding. This is what he looked like in his 70s, and it just proves that natural bodybuilding can, with decades of dedication, build an amazing physique that you can carry well into your older years. My previous video on Ed had a lot of positive comments, and it is no surprise, as Ed at 70 looks healthy and strong, full of vitality, and his skin is just glowing. This is what can be achieved if you stay natural. Now, in this video, Ed reveals his secrets to longevity, his training philosophy, and the simple diet that kept him strong and vital for most of his life. Enjoy.
Excellent. Alrighty. Hey Ed, how you going?
Well, I'm hanging in there the best I can.
It's been a while, and I'm glad to finally have you back. Can you just sit back a bit?
Yeah. How's that?
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
So, yeah, last time we spoke a few months ago, we were talking about your participation in the 1953 Mr. Universe.
Yeah, that was a bit weird because I really didn't participate per se because, as I think I explained to you, I was playing football for Portsmouth at the time.
Yeah.
And I had to leave to go back to a match.
Yeah.
And Sean said, well, he'd go down.
Yeah.
And of course, the rest is history. He got picked. He went back to Edinburgh, delivered some more coal, and then became James Bond.
Yeah. Right. So today I want to just talk about how you trained, because
yeah, it's a bit. I mean, I'm hoping people aren't expecting a 5x5 workout like Reg.
No.
I mean, I when I started bodybuilding seriously, it was about 4 or 5 of us. We all went to a gym which was Bob Woolger's gym, which was Diane's dad.
Okay.
In Portsmouth. It was called Woolger's Gym.
Yeah.
We all trained there. There was about 5 or 6 of us, guys and girls. And most of us trained 3 or 4 times a week. I had to keep mine down to 3 because of football commitment, and I was also, married with. I was married in 55.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I did the usual. I had started weight training in the US when I was lived in the States for a year, and I saw a picture of Marvin Eder.
Oh wow!
On the cover of Your Physique or Muscle Power, and huge arm, 19-inch arm at age 19.
Yeah.
And so everybody wants to build their arms, of course.
Could you just go back a bit? You're coming too close to the computer.
Tell me anytime.
Yeah.
I have a habit of leaning on the desk.
Yes.
But so when I returned to the UK, I was drafted in the military, of course, and then so when I finished my military training, which was 2 years, I started weight training fairly seriously. When I came back from the US, I entered the Mr. South Coast contest.
Good.
And I've got a picture here of me and Wag Bennett.
Oh wow!
Wag won the contest.
Okay.
Reg judged it. I was only 15. It's the first ever contest I entered. You can see the guys are a bit bigger than me, but it looks to me like I was very influenced by Steve Reeves at the time.
Yep.
And one of the poses that I did in that short contest was a pose that looked more like Steve than me.
Right.
But I did the usual, typically 3 sets of 8 to 10, with some supersets thrown in at the end. Supersets had just, I won't say invented, but a lot of guys were starting to do supersets, where you pile the weight on the bar, do a set of maybe 8 reps or until exhaustion, and then lower the weight and do another 10 reps.
Yeah.
And that really blew the muscle up. So as far as my diet was concerned, I just ate pretty regular meals. The only supplement I took was protein powder, and it was produced by the only people in the world, I think, that produced it. It was a company called Smith Glaxo.
Okay.
GlaxoSmithKline, and it was called Casilan, Casilan, 98% pure protein.
Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah, that's how they advertise it anyway. And so I took that. I mean, I took that basically until the company stopped producing it, which was probably in the 80s.
Yep.
And then I switched to the it's called Lean Fit, and you don't have a Costco's over there, do you?
No.
Costco.
Costco's.
Costco's store, and that's where I buy my protein. And I've been taking protein pretty regularly for at least 35 years.
Yeah. Okay.
But when I was the reason you have the picture. The reason I didn't get hugely bulked was because I was playing football at the same time, and I mean, so I was doing so much cardio.
Yes.
It was hard to bulk up. I mean, I think this is the picture you were referring to when you said, this is me taking about 72.
I can't see it.
Oh, can you not? Where will I hold it? Oh.
More in the middle. Okay, I mean, yeah, so I'm going to be showing this photo either way to the audience in a few minutes. But I want to so most, I mean,
no, sorry, there's me at 15.
Yeah, well, we're going to go through that.
And Wag is back here.
Okay, have you sent me that image?
No, I just found this one, but I'll send. Yeah. I'll have to photograph it and send it to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you started at 15, and what I find most amazing is that your longevity in bodybuilding. And I mean, you're talking about just a regular diet with proteins, nothing special. You've trained using the 3 by 8 to 12 system. I'm assuming 1, 2, even up to 3 exercises per body part throughout your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes, I would probably do 4 or 5 sets of for triceps or biceps. Yeah. But everything else, deltoids, I do a few more sets. I never worked out with extremely heavy weights. Yeah. Because of my football, if I overloaded my muscles, it tended to slow you down when you actually, if you have a running sport.
Okay, so you basically just bodybuilt to be a better athlete, or to actually be a
well, yes, I wanted to look better, obviously.
Excuse me.
As I say, we had a group of about 5 guys, and we did everything together. And the girls, we all spent the day on the beach together. We're all very good swimmers. Portsmouth, as you know, is right on the south coast of Britain.
Yes.
And then, of course, I think I told you I lost the sight of my right eye when I was 21.
Okay.
It didn't affect my bodybuilding, but obviously it affected my football. Mm-hmm. I was also playing a lot of tennis. In that period, I never gave up. Bodybuilding was always part of my life. Mm-hmm. Tennis in the 60s, I played a lot of tennis. In the 70s, I played a lot of tennis. And in the 80s, I played a lot of tennis. Played a lot of tournaments and traveled, you know.
Yeah.
I knew most of the early Australians, like Dave Rosal, Newcomb, Starling Emerson. You know, they were all good mates of mine.
Okay, so I mean, I get that you had, you know, I mean, you never were really a full hardcore bodybuilder, but
No. When I,
you've been
especially
an athlete, you've been bodybuilding to support your athletic endeavors. You've had a pretty regular diet, only protein supplement as a support. When was this photo taken? The one.
the date on the back, it was taken the year of our anniversary. I had two pictures of it. One says I was 68, the other one says I was 70. But
Okay.
it was actually taken in I have a date on the back of this one. I was 72, and it was taken. It just says taken 20 years ago.
Okay, so yeah, in the 80s. No, sorry, in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I was now when Sandy and I have been in this house now for 38 years.
Yeah,
and then we have a really nice gym here. For a long time, I went to Anytime Fitness. Are you familiar with that?
yes.
And I would train, you know, 2 or 3 times a week at Anytime Fitness. It was a great gym. It was never too full. You could do anything you want.
Yeah.
The worst thing about bodybuilding is if you have a routine that you do, when you finish a group of exercises, the next group of exercises you go to, somebody's on it, and you have to, you know, you've done it, right?
Yes, of
So
course.
I always say, you know, how many more sets do you have? I was never shy at asking.
Yeah.
And they'd say, well, you know, sometimes they'd say, oh, you can have it, you know, because
Yeah.
we weren't that serious. But if they're a serious bodybuilder, they'd say, well, I've got 3 more. And I'd say, well, you know, come and tap me on the shoulder when you finish, because I want it after you.
Yeah. So, I mean, my questioning now is, I mean, you look pretty remarkable for a 72-year-old. So,
yeah, but I mean, everybody said that. I mean, they used to make a lot of comments in the gym. I get a lot of comments from younger guys.
yeah. I mean,
You know,
what was it that you did? Was it anything special you did to, like, diet-wise or training?
no, nothing special diet-wise other than the protein. That's the only thing. I took vitamin E, which helps your oxygen absorption.
Yes, correct.
But diet, I mean, I didn't eat a lot of sugar. I maybe had a beer after a football match, but that's all. You know, I wasn't a beer drinker. I wasn't a drinker at all.
But specifically during this time, I mean, you're not exactly in your younger years at 72.
No, I mean, look, even
dieting at all? You must have been dieting.
No, I wasn't dieting.
Dieting.
No, sorry?
Dieting.
No, never dieted. Never ever dieted.
Okay.
I mean, I would run. You know, I mean, even after I lost my sight in my right eye and stopped playing football seriously, you know, I would still run maybe every day, probably, you know, 5 or 6K. Not.
Okay.
I wouldn't jog. I would run. You know.
Every day.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think
pretty much.
Okay.
And I did a tremendous amount of dumbbell training.
Okay.
Much more so than barbell. I mean, the heaviest bench press I ever did was probably about 275.
That's still pretty heavy.
Well, I was, and that's when I weighed about 180. Yeah.
Were your exercise programs, your bodybuilding programs, mostly full body workouts or split?
Yes, every time. I tried split routine because it was very much in the forefront when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. A lot of people were doing split routine. You know, they go to the gym maybe every day.
Yeah.
and they do, biceps, triceps, deltoids, upper back, and then they do another day they do legs,
Yeah.
lats, the big muscles, all the big muscles.
Hmm.
I, to be honest with you, Carlos, I never noticed any particular gain or advantage to doing one routine over another,
Yeah.
or doing one type of exercise. I mean, for my I don't like to say biceps because I used to tell young kids, what are you doing that for? And they'd say, my arms, and I'd say, well, what part of your arms are you doing that for? Well, my biceps. They didn't have a clue. I would spend a lot of my time in the gym talking to young kids, saying, "Excuse me, I hope you don't mind, but if you're doing that for your pecs, you're only getting, a partial workout. Or if you're doing your triceps, you're only working one tricep head, not working the others. And so some of them took exception because they're looking at an old guy,
Yeah.
you know. But then, if I was wearing something that showed more skin, they would say, the guy that owns the gym told me, you're 70. And I say, yeah, wow, you got me kidding. And they always had to have their phone with them now.
Yeah. Well,
can I get a picture of you?
well, I mean, I'm starting to get an idea now. So you're mainly training full body training, whole food diets with only protein throughout your life.
Yeah.
But I think one of the keys then would be the fact that you are doing full body routines plus 5 to 6 Ks of running every single day. I mean,
well, when I say every day, I mean, I might miss a day, or maybe only just 3-4 K, But,
yeah, maybe
I would try and push myself.
Yeah, either way, the point is that you're doing cardio almost every day.
Well, I was playing tennis every day.
Yeah, well, this is my point.
Serious tennis.
You have a rather athletic life that therefore wouldn't require you to be watching your food intake because
No, not at all. No, I didn't. No.
and I mean it's not
But
just
that gave me an advantage. I didn't have to concentrate on, what have I eaten today, because it was built into my lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, I also see it's not just your muscularity, your development, but that image of you, your skin is also glowing. Is there something you did for that? Did you just enjoy baking out in the sun? Like, did you?
Yeah, I was a big sun worshiper.
Yeah. Okay.
But I very rarely ever used. When I was playing a lot of tennis, I always played without a hat. I skied without a hat because I didn't know any better. But there were very little sunscreen around in those days. Yeah.
Well, it's something that I find very common in golden era and silver era bodybuilders is that, none of them were afraid of the sun. A lot of bodybuilders, this is something I've never really talked about, but even bodybuilders in the golden era that took steroids, most of them were out in the sun every single day. And a lot of people don't understand the importance of the sun in reducing inflammation in your body and preventing disease.
Vitamin D and
the vitamin D and the melatonin, that is one of the master anti-inflammatories in your body. And I mean, just looking at you and looking at those guys back then who weren't dropping dead at 40 or 50, you guys are just glowing. Your skin is glowing.
Well, people say that. I mean, it's funny, I've met a lot of people in the last couple of years who I've spoken to. If I see somebody that's obviously worked out with weights, I'll go up to them and say, you work out, don't you? And they'll look at me and say, this is before my cancer, obviously, when I still had the muscle. They say, yeah. I say, where do you work out? And I engage them in their workout routine. And then I say, if you've got a minute, I got a couple of pictures I'll show you. So I'll keep a couple of pictures on your car. So you haven't seen this one, probably. This is taken about the same time.
Yes, you've shown me that. Again, you're
And
very
that's what,
athletic. You're not huge, but you're athletic.
oh, yeah, I think most of them I
Yeah,
sent you.
yeah. You've sent me these. Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I'm not, you couldn't say I was overly bulked.
Oh no.
You know, I mean, so that, but people know that that's a clean bodybuilder.
Yeah,
They know that there's no steroids there.
yeah, yeah. Clean, natural. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
In,
Do
at,
they still do they still have a Mr. Natural
yeah, they do.
contest?
There's natural.
Because I've seen a lot of guys in that contest in the pictures, which certainly don't look natural to me.
It's questionable, but anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, even so, like the fact that you were able to keep that much muscle at an age where most people's testosterone has declined. Most people would be on TRT nowadays at that age, looking with your, like, as you do, with your skin glowing and everything. It's just fantastic, a fantastic achievement. So just want to thank you for sharing.
I appreciate your comments, Carlos, because what really broke me up, it all destroyed me when I was in hospital for 2 months.
Yeah.
When I came out of hospital, I mean, I hadn't seen myself for 2 months,
Can you imagine?
and I was critically dehydrated
Yeah.
and almost malnourished.
Yes.
And when my wife got me home, and I came in and I went to a shower in a bathroom, and I looked at myself, I totally broke down.
Yeah.
I had lost 44 pounds
Yeah, I can imagine. And you can imagine.
in 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was all muscle, obviously. I mean, I'd started losing the muscle because of cancer, because, you know, on the treatment, they take away your testosterone anyway.
Yeah. 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 Well,
But, you know, so, I mean, but I'm even now, I still work out downstairs, you know, I still do lateral raises and press in front, press behind neck, you know.
yeah.
I do curls. I've got a bar down there that weighs about 70 pounds. So I do, you know, a set of maybe 60 and then a lighter set.
And right now, you're how old exactly?
Well, I'll be 90 in 2 months.
Well, this is my point. I was going to just say, I mean, you've survived cancer, and I think that's got a lot to do with the fact that you've been a clean bodybuilder your whole life.
That's what the doctor said.
Yeah, you've eaten well, you've enjoyed the sun, you've done everything right. You've done it the old school way, right?
Yeah,
You've
absolutely.
got a clean life, and having this vehicle that you've developed, because that's what our bodies basically are.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You've developed it throughout your whole life for strength and vitality has served you when you really needed it. And now I mean, you lost a lot of weight. I'm assuming you've put some maybe 10, 20 pounds back.
I have I hit 150 yesterday.
Okay. Well,
And when I came out of hospital, I think I was 112 or something.
you've put most of it back then. That's fantastic.
Well, yeah, I wasn't obviously huge when I went in,
no.
but when I saw myself, I looked like I'd come out of Auschwitz.
Yeah, yeah. You were skin and bone, basically.
I broke down. I literally broke down
Yeah.
and cried my eyes out. And I
Yeah.
thought to myself, it took me 60 years to build the body I had, and you guys in hospital have taken it away from me in 2 months.
Yeah, but they saved your life. So, you know.
No, they didn't. No, it was another. No. Well, we have to say that hopefully they've extended my life.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of I wouldn't say ironic, but just the way things played out with these interviews, because I interviewed you well over a year ago before,
Yeah.
and I could tell the difference between then and now. And I'm glad that this happened this way, because the audience will appreciate how you were last time, how you are now, and the fact that you're still with us, this fact that you're still, for almost 90 years of age, quick in
I
mind.
didn't. I hope you don't mind, but I didn't want to have any of the pictures of me now stripped in you know, to be used, because it's not that I'm ashamed. I'm proud of
I understand.
proud of what I look like, it breaks my heart to see
I get it. Well,
what
I'll
I've
be going
become.
showing the images from you when you were like 72 in comparison to when you're younger. I think that's the lesson that I think we can learn here. That through
Yeah, I mean, I sent you the pictures of my medals, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
The NABA medals.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the, that's the era of Reg Park and Bill Pearl and Jim Park
Yes.
and Frank Zane and Clarence Ross, Marvin Eder, George Eiferman. I know all these names.
Yeah, of course. They were from the greats from the past. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I met a lot of them because some of them came over for the universe. Others, when I was in the States, I met some of them at Muscle Beach in Santa Monica,
yeah.
I wasn't as big as them, and I didn't even think about whether they were on steroids. I just wanted to see them, and they were strong guys.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's been really good talking to you, Ed. The
Thank you.
meeting's about to end. I just got
Yeah.
a little signal.
Can you let me know
Yes.
when it's going to be published?
I'll be uploading this, but thank you for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom. I do have one last question for you.
Go ahead.
That is, I think a lot of young kids that are gonna see this, I've been asked a lot if for more interviews regarding more mature bodybuilders like yourself. What would you tell young kids? That's really a message I think kids need to hear. What would you tell young kids with now the availability of, I would say, even better food? The variety is better.
Yeah.
Supplements
and better equipment.
Better equipment, but there's also the temptation of using anabolic steroids because they're everywhere. What would you say to kids with such huge choice nowadays? What would you tell them?
Well, that's when I approach some of these guys, and I tell them, I show them a picture. I say, there's not a steroid in sight in my life.
Yeah.
And I said, if you guys, yes, it'll make you grow, but you have no idea of problems that you may face later on because of the use of steroids, and it's not worth it.
Yes.
I mean, I tell them, strive to look athletic, to stay healthy, build muscle, but build muscle to use. We used to call it applied weight training.
Yes.
If you're a runner, you find the best way to use weights in your running training. If you're a tennis player, you work the muscles that you need to play tennis. If you're a footballer, so you apply the knowledge of weight training to the sports that you want to excel in, and they're the ones you follow. The rest will grow automatically.
I mean, that's great.
And also what I would tell young bodybuilders is, don't be ashamed of walking into the gym and using less weight than some other guys in there, because you do not want to. Don't worry about image.
Yeah.
It's being healthy. The image will come.
Yes, absolutely, and it'll last longer.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, look, have you? I know we're going over time, but have you come across since we met? Come across other bodybuilders my age who probably look better or similar to me?
I would only say very few. I have, because I tend to also.
Well, you're searching them out, obviously.
Exactly, I search them out, or they search me out.
Yeah, well, your website, your new website, with all the great pictures in there. I think I said to you in an email, you're introducing Reg to a whole new generation.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for that.
I mean, I speak to, for example, a good friend of mine is Reg Park's training partner, and he's already in his mid-60s, if I'm not mistaken.
What's his name?
Mark Austin. Mark
He's a
Austin.
British guy?
No, he's from South Africa. So he was
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Reg went over, and he trained with him for like over a decade, and managed his gyms and everything. He learned everything he could from Reg, and I mean,
Yeah.
at his age, everybody that I've introduced Mark to, everybody screams that he's on steroids, but he's not. He's never
Well,
touched.
see, some bodybuilders have the ability to build more muscle or get more reps, more definition, more than other bodybuilders. But not
Yes.
all made the same.
Yeah, even better so than those with steroids, simply
Yeah.
because they're just made for it. Plus, they work their butts off. They really work hard.
Well, you take Arnold. I mean, he started when he was 15, but by the time he was 16, 17, when I first met him, he could have won Mr. Universe. In fact, he won it when he was 19.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, and
20
nobody heard of him.
Yeah.
I mean, Reg looked at him and said, he said to Wag afterwards, he said, this, you know, if you've got any money, put it on this kid to win Mr. Universe. He said, this kid's amazing.
Yeah. Well, Arnold's was made for it. So, as you
Yeah,
said,
he was. He's special.
all right.
But everybody can be better than they are.
Absolutely, that's so true. Absolutely, I think bodybuilding, when done right, with a good diet, can bring out the
Well,
best.
it's funny, you know, and people have asked me, did you follow who was the guy with sand in the face? Used to have it in every newspaper. Used to train with books and things.
Oh, Jack LaLanne
No. This guy,
with books.
he never used weights. He just used whatever he had around the house.
Yeah, that would be Jack LaLanne.
Yeah, well, I know Jack had a gym right down the street from me
Okay.
in Oakville.
Okay.
But this guy's there used to be, the ad would have a girl laying on a beach, a guy coming
Charles
back.
Atlas, you mean?
Charles Atlas.
Yes.
I saw Charles Atlas ads when I was like 13, 14.
Yeah.
And I was interested then. I wanted to know. I mean, he didn't look that great, mind you, but because he kept his clothes on most of the time, you know. But I used to think, boy, it would be great, you know. I mean, he made a lot of money.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But he also pushed the whole generation of young males
In the right direction. Yeah, absolutely. Great, Ed. We're really
shaking your hand here.
We're out of time, so I do have to stop recording.
Well, let's not lose touch with each other. Eh?
No, that's fine. I'd like you to still send me some of the new images you found of yourself, so I can look at them. Thank you again for sharing your life story, your tips for longevity in bodybuilding in both diet and training.
I played in what they call the Junior Veterans US Open in 1968. I was 35.
Wow. Cool.
I was 35. It was a tournament for anybody over 30. Awesome. I was the oldest one in the tournament, obviously. But I lost to an Australian who was still playing Davis Cup.
Wow. Okay.
I played at Forest Hills on grass, and the guy I lost to was Mel Anderson. Right. I mean, I've got a picture of me. You know, on grass you get a lot of bad bounces.
Yes.
The ball will come up.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm in the process of hitting the forehead, and the ball has hit a tuft of grass and come up, and I've reacted to it. I mean, it's not the classic. It's the classic stroke production, but not the classic hit.
Yeah.
No, I'll send you a picture.
Right. Please.
Because it was a big part of my life. Tennis was a huge part of my life.
Well, I think that all played a part. Sport, bodybuilding, diet, out in the sun. Thanks very much.
Let me just give you this as a passing. This is a very short poem written by a South African tennis player.
Yeah, get back a bit.
Oh,
you've got maybe 30 seconds. It's going to end now.
Okay, yeah. 30 seconds, it won't be more than 30 seconds. In the middle of a lifetime of days and nights, and the unexpected seasons that slide changes ring, go back down the years and recall, if you can, all the warm, temperate times. You will find with surprise that they're all squeezed into a head full of thoughts and a handful of summers.
That's lovely.
And nice?
Thank you very much, Ed. We'll talk.
Okay, always good. I'm glad we reconnected.
So as we have heard from Ed, after seeing a magazine cover of Marvin Eder, he began weight training. His training schedule was typically full body or upper body and lower body split. Ed mostly trained with dumbbells throughout his life, typically choosing one exercise per body part, hitting it for 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. At times he mentioned he enjoyed performing supersets, especially for his arms. The strength he achieved on such a program allowed him to bench press 275 pounds as a max, a very respectable weight. His diet was based on a whole food diet of 3 regular meals. He also took a protein powder called Castellan by SmithGlaxoKline, and he also took vitamin E, and restricted his sugar intake throughout his life. His goals with weight training and bodybuilding were not to become a professional bodybuilder. Instead, he worked out with moderate weight, with the goal of looking better and being a better athlete, as he enjoyed playing football and tennis. As he mentioned, natural bodybuilding became part of his life, but not his entire life. The result of such a practice, well, this photo was taken when he was 72, in fact, in 2005. This is a physique achieved with no TRT, and believe me, at this age, most people would be with low testosterone, on TRT, and an array of other drugs to stop the side effects of TRT alone. Ed never needed TRT because of his decades of dedication in the sport and his attention to nutrition. This is what natural bodybuilding gives you, a long, strong, and healthy body and life. On top of his bodybuilding, he did lots of cardio, running every day for 5 to 6 kilometers. He played tennis or football all his life. And I really love his attitude towards cutting. Because he was so active, he didn't have to think about bulking or cutting or getting on a diet. It's a very refreshing and simple attitude he had to life and fitness. Very uncomplicated, in fact. One that we should adopt. Ed was also a sun worshipper, as he put it. He had a great tan. I mean, man, that skin is just glowing, and he just looks full of vitality. And of course, it is no surprise. Sunlight provides us with hormone-building vitamin D and anti-inflammatory melatonin. What did Ed achieve, you might be asking? He may not have achieved bodybuilding stardom, although he did appear on Reg Park Journal magazine once, and he definitely did not achieve an early death, but he did get married, had children, then became a grandfather, and eventually died after years of battling prostate cancer. While struggling from cancer, Ed lost 40 pounds of weight in 2 months, but what kept him alive was the strong body he had developed his whole life. Had he not practiced natural bodybuilding, the cancer or therapy or both would have killed him. Coming out of hospital, he regained most of his muscle back, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. Even at the age of almost 90 years old, muscle memory kicked in, and he regained most of his physique back after cancer. Incredible. Ed's final message to young athletes is very simple. Build muscle that is functional. Stay healthy and athletic. Don't worry about your image and comparing yourself to others. Everyone can improve who they are. Just stick to natural bodybuilding. And I couldn't agree with Ed more than 100%. I mean, he's absolutely right. After this interview, Ed would live a further 2 years until he died at 91 years old. As you can see from the story of Ed Abrook, Ed lived a full life, full of health, strength and vitality, and remains a shining example to his family and leaves a legacy for his kids and grandchildren to follow. And in my opinion, that is worth more than a bodybuilding trophy. It is not just an example to his family, but to society. We hear of so many fitness athletes dying nowadays, early deaths in their 20s and 30s, because of PED abuse. And as demonstrated by my recent study, this increase in mortality is accelerating by the year and has been since the advent of steroids in the golden era of bodybuilding. So which road will you take? I will leave that decision to you. And with that said, I hope you have enjoyed this video and the story of Ed Abrook and his life with natural bodybuilding. If you have enjoyed this video, please give the video a like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. What do you think of Ed Abrook and his philosophy of bodybuilding for longevity? Please share your stories and comments. Remember, if interested in natural bodybuilding to live a strong and happy life, then please get in touch for my online coaching program and become the best version of yourself like so many of my clients have achieved. That's it from me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now. Head to www.goldenerabookworm.com for the biggest range of classic old-school bodybuilding books as ebooks, e-magazines such as Iron Man and Reg Park Journal, high-quality bodybuilding posters of the Golden Era stars, merchandise, and classic gymwear featuring Steve Reeves, Marvin Eder, John Grimmick, Reg Park, and many other Golden Era stars. For those wishing to build a classic physique, lose fat, and build muscle, online training is also available. Collectibles such as rare autographed photos from the Golden Era stars are also available, and to collaborate, please get in touch. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, I mean, there's so much stuff that probably hasn't been proven by science, and it will take science to prove or disprove Vince. But to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique Bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles. But how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises. And of course, the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the Classic Physique Bundle, Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com.